Iain Dale on LBC. Text 84850.
9:34. We'll come back to your calls in just a moment, but let's first cross live to Washington DC and talk to Simon Marks. Simon, when you're on at 9:30, you can be sure that something's happened.
Something has indeed happened, Ian, and it feeds into the conversation that you're having this hour because Donald Trump is now presenting yet another challenge to the UK and also tangentially to the Prime Minister, because within the last hour at the White House, he has announced that he has decided to go ahead and file a lawsuit against the BBC over that Panorama documentary with the clumsily edited Donald Trump soundbite pulled from the comments that he made on January the 6th, 2021, shortly before his supporters went on to engage in their deadly riot up on Capitol Hill. He says that the lawsuit is coming over the course of the next few hours. He didn't say how much money and damages he is going to seek, but he has previously indicated that he would pursue the BBC for up to $5 billion in damages. And in making this announcement in the Oval Office, again, within the last hour, President Trump has voiced all sorts of absolute falsehoods about what took place with regard to the editing of that Panorama documentary.
In a little while, you'll be seeing I'm suing the BBC for putting words in my mouth, literally. They put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing that lawsuit? Even the media can't believe that one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. So we'll be filing that suit probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
Now, to be absolutely clear, the BBC did not put words into his mouth in the sense that they used AI to concoct things that he didn't actually say on January the 6th, 2021. They simply took two parts of the speech and jammed them together without disclosing to the audience that they were doing that. And for that, they have apologised, and they, of course, have argued that there is no merit to any lawsuit that the president chooses to bring. We assume that he's going to go ahead and file this in the sunshine state of Florida, which is his preferred jurisdiction for these kind of defamation lawsuits. For a month, the BBC's been left hanging, and I think that there was hope that perhaps this lawsuit was going to prove to be one of the many that Donald Trump threatens but then doesn't follow through on. Now it seems that he is going forward with it. Of course, if the lawsuit is rooted in some of those claims that he falsely advanced there at the White House, it will be very easy for the BBC to defend. But it's another major shot across Britain's bows at a time when, more broadly, as you've been talking about this hour, Donald Trump is completely bailing on the transatlantic relationship.
What, though, Simon? What jurisdiction does a Florida court have over the BBC?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Ian. In order to bring this case in a Florida court, he's going to have to prove that someone in Florida saw the documentary go out when it was transmitted on BBC News back in October of 2024 and was in some fashion injured by it. And that's going to be a high bar to meet, because we know that the BBC says they received no complaints even from viewers in Britain in the immediate aftermath of that documentary's transmission. So I think it's a pretty safe bet that the phone lines to New Broadcasting House were not jammed with callers from Florida itself. The courts, by the way, have not always been kind to Donald Trump when he's tried to bring similar lawsuits in the past. He was advancing a defamation lawsuit against the New York Times there, I think claiming $15 billion in damages over a New York Times article that dared to suggest that he might not have been as successful in business as he had claimed. And a judge in Florida, Republican appointed judge in Tampa, threw the lawsuit out, essentially saying that it was a waste of the court's time, that it was improperly formulated, and that the courts weren't a place where you could make all sorts of ad hominem political arguments against your foes. Now, he's got the capacity of trying to bring that lawsuit there again, but this is going to be a very high bar for Donald Trump to meet as he tries to advance this lawsuit wherever he files it, particularly if he continues to maintain that AI was used, which it was not, by the BBC in the editing of that edition of Panorama.
Now, just on another story, believe it or not, concerning Donald Trump again, what's he been saying about the Reiner murders, which has caused such controversy?
Well, as you know, he took to social media and issued the most shameful, disgraceful posting that we have seen from him, which is saying a lot, and absolutely sullying the presidency in a way that I don't think it's been sullied in the past. He claimed that Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle had passed away reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. Rob Reiner, of course, was a persistent critic politically of Donald Trump, much beloved in Hollywood, not only by Democrats, it has to be said. Well, at the White House, again within the last hour, amid a tsunami of criticism from Donald Trump's fellow Republicans about that disgraceful tweet, he was asked whether he stands by it.
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all.
But here's the thing, Ian. After he said that in that press conference, and he was talking there to reporters for about 30 minutes, there wasn't a single follow-up asked about whether he owes the Reiner family an apology for the disgraceful things that he has said today, because now the White House press corps is so swollen with pliant pro-Trump propagandists that instead they were all lobbing him softballs about the economy, isn't it wonderful, about a convicted crypto criminal who apparently is hoping for a pardon and managed to use a planted question there today to get his name in front of the president. So doubling down on absolutely disgraceful behaviour today that has irked many Republicans, even while it has obviously shocked the family, friends and supporters of the Reiners.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. That's Simon Marks, LBC's US correspondent.